The rain fell softly on Maplewood, casting a silver glow on the quiet streets. Inside a cozy house at the end of Willow Lane, Emily Carter, a single mother in her 40s, moved around the kitchen, clearing the dishes from dinner. The warmth of the room contrasted sharply with the chill outside, but Emily's thoughts were far from the comfort of her home. She kept thinking about her son, Alex, who had just turned 23. Lately he seemed different, restless and distant. There was a tension in him that she couldn't ignore, a heaviness behind his usually calm demeanor. As she stacked the last plate, she heard him call from the living room. "Mum, can we talk?" His voice sounded serious, almost fragile. Emily felt a shiver run through her. She wiped her hands on a towel and walked toward him, her heart beating faster than usual. She found Alex sitting on the couch, staring at the floor. The soft lamplight highlighted the tension in his face, the slight tremble in his hands. She sat down beside him, instinctively reaching for his hand. "Of course, honey. What's on your mind?" Alex took a deep breath, hesitating, as if the words he wanted to say were heavy with consequence. Emily waited patiently, sensing that something significant was about to unfold. "Mum, I have a request," he said finally, his voice barely above a whisper. Emily's heart skipped a beat. A request? What could he possibly ask of her that required such seriousness? She urged him gently, "Tell me, Alex, whatever it is, you can tell me." He looked up, his eyes glistening with emotion. Emily saw a vulnerability she hadn't noticed before, a raw honesty that made her heart ache. I want to leave town with someone I love. I know it's sudden, but I need your blessing," he said, each word careful, almost afraid. Emily's first reaction was shock. Leave town? Her mind raced, imagining her son stepping away from everything familiar, leaving her behind. She opened her mouth to speak, but the words didn't come immediately. "Alex, who is this someone? Tell me everything," she managed, her voice soft but steady. Alex hesitated, looking down at his hands. "Her name is Sophie," he began. "We've been seeing each other for a few months. I'm serious about her, Mom. I want to start my life with her, away from here, where we can be free." Emily felt the air in the room shift. The rain outside seemed louder, tapping insistently against the windows, echoing the storm of emotions inside her. Pride, fear, love, and sadness collided within her. She wanted to support him, yet the thought of losing him, even temporarily, was unbearable. "Alex, this is a lot to take in," she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. She felt the weight of years, of memories, of sleepless nights and endless care, pressing on her chest. He nodded, understanding her hesitation, but his eyes pleaded with her to listen and understand. "I know, Mom, I need you to understand. I want your blessing before I do this," he said, his voice steady despite the emotion. Emily's mind spun. She remembered holding him as a newborn, feeling his tiny fingers curl around hers, remembering the countless times she had comforted him and guided him through life. Could she let him go now, when he was grown and ready to make his own choices? Could she trust that his love for Sophie was real and strong enough to endure the challenges ahead? She felt tears prick her eyes, but she blinked them away, trying to focus on him rather than her own fears. She reached out, squeezing his hand. "Alex, I need a moment to think," she said quietly. Her mind was a whirlwind of emotion. She wanted to be happy for him, to celebrate his love, yet the thought of separation felt like a weight she couldn't shake. She wanted to ask questions, to know everything about Sophie, about their plans, about the future. But deep down, she knew this was not about control, it was about trust, about letting her son choose his path. Alex sat quietly beside her, a mixture of anxiety and hope written across his face. He didn't pressure her, didn't speak another word, simply waited, offering her the patience he had learned from her over the years. The rain outside became a soft background, a rhythm to the quiet tension in the room. Emily felt a strange mix of emotions, fear, love, pride, and sorrow all mingling together. She realized that this moment was a turning point, not just for Alex, but for herself as a mother. She had to decide whether to hold on tightly or to release him, trusting that the love she had given him would guide him safely. Even from a distance, the silence stretched on, broken only by the gentle patter of rain. Emily's thoughts went back to the countless memories they had shared, the laughter, the late-night talks, the comfort of his presence. Could she truly let him go, knowing that life outside her home would test him in ways she could not predict? She knew one thing for certain. Her love for Alex was unconditional, and that love would have to be enough to carry both of them through the uncertainty ahead. Finally, she took a deep breath, holding his hand a little tighter. "I'll think about it, Alex," she said, her voice steady despite the emotions surging inside her. "I promise I'll think about it." Alex nodded, relief flashing across his face, but Emily could see the lingering anxiety there too. She watched him, heart full, knowing that this was just the beginning of a journey neither of them could fully predict. The storm outside mirrored the storm within, but somewhere in the chaos, a quiet understanding began to form sometimes. Love means letting go, even when it's the hardest thing in the world. And in that moment, mother and son sat together, hand in hand, the rain falling softly, each lost in their own thoughts, yet connected by an unspoken promise of love and trust. The morning, after Alex's request, was quiet. Almost too quiet. The rain had stopped, leaving the streets of Maplewood glistening under the soft sunlight. Emily sat at the kitchen table, nursing a cup of tea, her mind restless. She kept replaying Alex's words from the night before. He wanted to leave town with Sophie, start a life somewhere far away, and most of all, he wanted her blessing. The idea of letting her only son go felt surreal, as though the walls of her home might collapse under the weight of her emotions. She had always dreamed of seeing him grow, succeed, and be happy, but this sudden request challenged her in ways she hadn't anticipated. Alex appeared in the kitchen, his expression hopeful but cautious. He tried to break the tension with a light smile, offering to make breakfast. Emily appreciated the gesture but remained quiet, staring into her cup. The room felt heavy, yet alive with unspoken feelings. Alex finally asked, "Mom, did you think about what I said?" His voice was careful, respectful, yet tinged with anxiety. Emily took a deep breath, her fingers gripping the warm cup. "I have, Alex. I thought a lot. It's a lot to take in so quickly." Her voice wavered slightly, betraying the inner conflict she felt. She wanted to support him, to celebrate his love and independence, but the thought of him leaving carved an emptiness inside her chest. Alex sat down across from her, leaning slightly forward. "Mom, I know this is sudden. I didn't plan for it to happen like this. But I love her, and I can't ignore that feeling. I want to be honest with you before I make any decisions." His words carried the weight of maturity, of someone ready to face life's choices. Emily studied his face, noticing the determination in his eyes, the sincerity that mirrored the boy she had raised. She remembered the countless nights she had stayed awake, worrying about him, the early mornings when she had watched him leave for school, hoping the world would be kind. Could she now trust that the lessons she had taught him, the values, the patience, the empathy would guide him in love? Emily realized that this was not just about letting him go physically, but about trusting him emotionally. She wanted to question every detail, every plan, that she understood that love required freedom, and freedom required trust. Later that day, Emily decided to call Sophie. Her fingers trembled slightly as she dialed, but the moment Sophie answered, a wave of relief washed over her. Sophie spoke with warmth, respect, and a clear devotion to Alex. Her voice was calm and confident, yet filled with gentleness. I promise, Mrs. Carter, I will take care of him. I only want him to be happy, Sophie said. Emily listened carefully, realizing that Alex's choice was rooted in genuine affection, not fleeting emotion. For the first time, she felt a small sense of peace. Despite the reassurance, Emily couldn't shake a lingering worry. What if the future was uncertain? What if Alex faced heartbreak far from home? These thoughts crowded her mind, making her chest tighten. She reminded herself to focus on the present, on the love she had nurtured in her son, on the trust she now needed to give him. Letting go wasn't a failure. It was a different kind of love. One that was patient, understanding, and brave. Alex noticed the tension in her face and reached for her hand. A gentle gesture meant to calm and connect. Mom, I know it's hard, but I need your blessing. I can't imagine taking this step without you understanding. His eyes reflected hope and a quiet vulnerability, the kind of look that had always melted her heart. Emily felt a lump in her throat. She wanted to tell him everything she feared, but she also wanted to show faith in his judgment, in his love. She realized that her role as a mother had shifted. She was no longer just a protector. She was a guide, a supporter of his choices, even if they hurt. Over the next few days, Emily tried to reconcile her emotions. She watched Alex go about his routines, noting his quiet excitement, the way his eyes lit up when he spoke of Sophie, the subtle joy in his laughter. She observed the care in his words, the thoughtfulness in his plans, and slowly her worry began to ease. She understood that love sometimes meant stepping back, watching someone build a life while trusting they carried the lessons of home in their heart. Emily began to imagine what Alex's life with Sophie might look like. She pictured small apartments filled with laughter, evenings spent exploring a new city, and mornings sharing coffee and dreams. The vision made her heart ache and swell at the same time. She realized that happiness for her son didn't diminish her role as a mother. It transformed it into something deeper. That evening, Emily sat quietly by the window, the last rays of sunlight filtering through the curtains. She thought about letting go, about the beauty of love that was free rather than bound. She remembered all the times Alex had needed her, all the moments she had guided him through life's challenges. And now, he was stepping into a new chapter, one she had only hoped he would approach with honesty, courage, and a heart full of love. She reached for her phone and sent Alex a brief message. I'm proud of you. I believe in your heart. Follow it. It was simple, but it carried everything she felt: trust, hope, love, and the willingness to let him grow. In that moment, Emily realized that her support didn't end with proximity. It extended into faith, into a deep, unconditional love that could survive distance and change. As she closed her eyes that night, Emily felt a mixture of sadness and joy. She had begun to understand that motherhood was not only about holding on, but also about letting go gracefully. Alex's request, once shocking and difficult, was becoming a lesson in love and trust, one that would shape them both forever. The storm of emotions she had felt before now settled into a quiet understanding, a peace that came from seeing her son ready to embrace his own life, yet knowing her love would always be there as his anchor. And with that thought, Emily finally allowed herself to smile, feeling both the ache of separation and the warmth of hope, knowing that sometimes the hardest decisions led to the most beautiful transformations of the heart. The week passed quickly, and Maplewood seemed quieter than usual. Emily watched Alex move through the house with a strange mix of excitement and nervous energy. He was packing his suitcase, carefully folding clothes, checking and rechecking his plans, all while trying not to betray the storm of emotions running through him. Emily noticed the subtle glances he cast at her, as if searching for reassurance, for permission, for a sign that she understood his choice. She could feel the tension, the anticipation in the air, and it tugged at her heart. This was the moment she had been preparing for, yet she was still unprepared for the reality of letting him go. Alex zipped his suitcase with deliberate precision and turned to Emily. His eyes held a quiet hope, a gentle plea for acceptance. "Mum, thank you," he said softly, his voice carrying the weight of all the unspoken words between them. "For everything. For understanding. Even if it's hard." Emily felt her chest tighten. She wanted to hug him endlessly, to tell him that no matter where he went, he would always be her son, her pride, her joy. She did just that, wrapping her arms around him, feeling the familiar warmth of his presence one last time before a significant change. The taxi arrived sooner than expected, honking lightly outside. Emily followed Alex to the door, her heart aching at the thought of this farewell. Standing there, she watched Sophie, who was waiting with a small smile and gentle eyes. Emily could see the tenderness between them, the way their hands brushed, the quiet laughter they shared even before speaking. It was in these small gestures that Emily realized the depth of Alex's feelings. She saw the love in his eyes, the sincerity in Sophie's, and she began to trust that their connection was genuine. Alex and Sophie exchanged a few quiet words, their voices low, intimate, yet respectful. Emily noticed the subtle nervousness in Sophie, the careful way she held Alex's hand, as if both were stepping into an unknown chapter together. Emily's mind raced through 1,000 what-ifs. What if things went wrong? What if life tested them harshly? But alongside those fears, a stronger feeling of hope emerged. She realized that she couldn't protect Alex from every challenge. That part of her role as a mother was to trust the foundation she had built in him over the years. Alex turned to Emily, giving her a final look that seemed to hold all the memories of their shared life, the laughter, the tears, the lessons, the quiet nights, the long talks. "I'll never forget, Mom," he said, his voice steady despite the emotion. "I promise." Emily's eyes filled with tears, but this time, they were not only tears of sadness, they carried pride, joy, and a quiet acceptance. She knew that letting him go didn't mean losing him. It meant trusting him, supporting him, and loving him enough to allow his happiness to flourish. The taxi door closed, and Alex and Sophie were on their way. Emily stood at the doorway, watching them disappear down the street. The familiar hum of the house felt different now, quieter, yet full of memories. The air was thick with a mixture of sorrow and anticipation, a strange comfort in knowing that love could expand even when physical distance separated hearts. She felt a gentle ache, a reminder that motherhood was a continuous journey of both holding on and letting go. Inside, Emily moved from room to room, noticing the small traces of Alex's presence. His books on the shelf, the coffee mug he had left behind, the jacket hanging near the door. Each item sparked a memory, a small pang of longing. Yet, instead of feeling consumed by the emptiness, she chose to see these as reminders of the love she had nurtured, the care she had invested, and the values she had instilled in him. These were the roots that would carry him forward, wherever he went. That evening, Emily sat on the porch with a cup of tea, the sunset painting the sky in soft shades of orange and pink. She thought about Alex and Sophie, imagining their journey together, their laughter, their small adventures, their shared dreams. She realized that happiness often came with distance and uncertainty, but it was worth it when built on honesty, trust, and love. Her heart swelled as she pictured them discovering life together, learning, supporting, and loving each other as they navigated their new world. Emily reflected on the lessons of letting go. She understood that the strongest love isn't always the one that clings, but the one that trusts, that encourages, and that allows those we care for to grow. Alex's request, once shocking and difficult, had transformed into a profound lesson in trust and acceptance. She felt a sense of peace, knowing that she had honored both his freedom and her love for him. As night fell, Emily returned inside, the house quiet but no longer empty. Her thoughts were filled with hope for the future, for Alex's happiness, for Sophie's love, and for the bond that would endure despite the miles between them. She knew that while this was a chapter of separation, it was also a chapter of growth for her, for Alex, and for the life he was building with Sophie. Before going to bed, Emily sent a message to Alex. "Follow your heart. I believe in you. I love you always." It was simple, yet it carried everything she felt: trust, faith, and unconditional love. That small act of letting go brought her a profound sense of satisfaction. She realized that love was not just about holding on. It was about giving wings and trusting that those wings could carry someone safely. Even when they left your side. Emily finally leaned back in her chair, feeling the quiet comfort of acceptance. She knew there would be moments of longing, of missing him fiercely, but also moments of pride, joy, and love that would endure no matter the distance. Alex was beginning his journey, and she could embrace it. Knowing that letting him go didn't diminish their bond, it strengthened it, proving that love was patient, trusting, and everlasting. Days turned into weeks, and Emily's house felt different. The quiet was no longer heavy with worry, but filled with a reflective calm. Alex had left, and Sophie had become a part of his life, even from a distance. Emily found herself thinking about them, constantly wondering how their days were unfolding, how their laughter sounded together, and whether Alex was truly happy. At first, the absence had been difficult, an ache she couldn't shake. But over time, she began to understand that love was more than proximity. It was trust, patience, and the quiet joy of seeing someone she cared for flourish. Each morning, Emily looked at her phone for messages. There were texts, small updates about their lives, photos of little adventures and happy moments. Alex's words carried excitement and sincerity, while Sophie's messages reflected care and thoughtfulness. Seeing them together, even through a screen, brought Emily relief. She realized that letting him go didn't weaken their bond. It simply shifted it into a different, yet equally meaningful form. The mother in her had learned to embrace distance without fear, to celebrate the happiness of her child even when it wasn't right beside her. One evening, Emily decided to take a walk in the park near her home. The crisp autumn air carried the scent of fallen leaves, and the sky glowed with the soft colors of sunset. She imagined Alex and Sophie walking hand in hand in a city far from Maplewood, discovering new streets, new cafes, and the little joys of daily life. She pictured their laughter echoing across unfamiliar places, their shared glances that spoke volumes, and the small, tender moments that were theirs alone. A smile curved her lips as she realized she had begun to feel joy for their happiness rather than sorrow for their absence. Emily thought about her own feelings of worry and doubt from the weeks before. She remembered the fear that Sophie might not be right for Alex, that life could challenge them harshly. But those fears were replaced with trust, a trust earned through observing Alex's character, Sophie's sincerity, and the strength of their connection. Emily understood that love was not about shielding someone from every difficulty, but about believing in their ability to face the world with integrity, courage, and heart. She recalled the night Alex had made his request, the vulnerability in his eyes and the courage it took to speak his truth. Emily realized that those moments of honesty and bravery were a reflection of the guidance and love she had given him. She felt a swell of pride mixed with tenderness, knowing that she had raised someone capable of choosing love wisely, even if it meant stepping into the unknown. The lesson was clear. Letting go was an act of love as much as holding on had been. That evening, a message from Alex appeared on her phone. It was a photo of him and Sophie at a beach, laughing as the sun dipped below the horizon. Their hands were entwined, their smiles wide and genuine. Emily felt tears well up, but this time they were not of sadness. They were tears of joy, pride, and gratitude. Seeing them so happy reassured her that her faith in him had not been misplaced. The bond they shared, once physical and immediate, now transcended distance and became an enduring emotional connection. Emily sat in her favorite chair, sipping tea, reflecting on how much her own perspective had changed. She no longer felt the need to hold Alex close at all times. Instead, she found peace in knowing that love could survive distance, that it could grow stronger when trust was involved. She understood that motherhood was not only about guiding a child through life, but also about stepping back, allowing growth, and celebrating independence over the next days. Emily noticed small shifts within herself. She began to plan little joys for herself, to indulge in activities she had once set aside. She visited friends, explored new hobbies, and allowed herself to embrace a life that was full and meaningful, even while Alex was far away. In doing so, she realized that the love she had for her son was not diminished by space. It was expanded by faith and acceptance. She could love him fully without possessing him, and that freedom brought a profound serenity. Emily also began to dream, imagining the future for her son and Sophie, a life filled with shared experiences, mutual respect, and a growing, enduring love. She pictured them facing challenges together, supporting each other, and finding joy in the everyday moments that make life beautiful. This vision brought her comfort, knowing that while life was unpredictable, love, honesty, and commitment could guide them through even the hardest times. Late one night, Emily sent Alex a message. "Seeing your happiness makes me so proud. Keep following your heart. I love you always." It was simple, yet it carried everything she felt: trust, love, hope, and encouragement. She understood that letting go didn't mean losing a part of herself. It meant embracing a new way of loving, one that honored both his independence and their bond. As she closed her eyes that night, Emily felt a sense of quiet fulfillment. She had navigated the difficult path of a mother, releasing her child into the world of love and independence. Though there were moments of longing and bittersweet reflection, they were accompanied by hope, trust, and pride. She had learned that true love often involves sacrifice, patience, and faith in the people we care for most. Emily realized that Alex's request, once shocking and filled with uncertainty, had become a blessing in disguise. It had taught her to see the strength in her son, to trust the depth of his love, and to find joy in his happiness. The house was quiet, but it was no longer lonely. It was full of hope, memories, and the enduring warmth of a mother's love that stretched across distance and time. And in that quiet acceptance, Emily understood a truth she would carry forever. Love is not about holding on tightly, but about letting go gracefully, trusting, and celebrating the beauty of someone else's happiness. She smiled softly, feeling her heart expand with pride, love, and hope, knowing that Alex was stepping into a life filled with love, and that she had played a part in guiding him there.